I'm Giordano, the film director here. I'm going to share some information about one of the directors, Mori, and grateful to have him here today. So stick around for the discussion after the film, and hear your questions as we watch. It's about an hour long, so Mori is an American cinematographer and film director, known for their documentary films. The feature-length documentary Rather Than Me won the best documentary cinematography award. Hold your questions till after the screen. Emmy will be here after the film, so just keep track of your questions. Sorry. Well, that's a good thing. Hopefully the movie gets you a little excited too. So, Emiko's feature-length documentary Rather Than Me won the best documentary cinematography award at the 1999 Sundance Film Festival and an Emmy Award after it was broadcast on PBS the same year, 1999. Emiko was one of the first camera women to work in news documentaries. And she began her career at KQED in San Francisco in 1968. She's the youngest of three sisters, born in California to parents of Japanese descent. In 1942, the family was uprooted from their small but prosperous vegetable farm in Oceanside, California, and taken to the post-internment camp in Arizona, where Americans of Japanese ancestry were incarcerated after the attack on Pearl Harbor and the signing of the Executive Order in 1966. The family was released in 1945, and shortly before her 5th birthday, returned to Oceanside. So the film, Rather Than Moon, goes into those experiences, and it's definitely something you should check out if you can. She studied film at SF State University, graduated in 1967, and as I said, began her career in 1968 at KQED in San Francisco, working at the station's newly launched program Newsroom, and became one of the first camera women to work in news documentaries. She started off as an editor, but after 2 weeks began filming for the show. A year later, she organized the San Francisco branch of the National Association of Broadcast Employees and Technicians. She became a freelance cinematographer in the 1970s and worked on several documentaries on aspects of African American culture. As we jump to 1974, she met the tattoo artist Taylor Hardy when she visited Tattoo City, his original San Francisco tattoo studio, and received a small tattoo. It was the beginning of a long collaboration that has lasted over 30 years, and eventually filmed the feature-length documentary Ed Hardy, Tattoo the World, which is a retrospective of Hardy's life and work. She also produced and wrote the 2002 PBS TV documentary Skin Stories, which explored the cultural significance of tattooing in Hawaii, New Zealand, Samoa, San Diego, and Los Angeles. The 1980s saw the first of two of Omori's 3 cinematic explorations of the lives of Japanese Americans. And they also marked her first foray into fictional filmmaking with The Departure, a short film about a young Japanese American girl growing up in California's Central Valley in the 1930s. It was made in 1983 and broadcast on the PBS Asian American anthology series Silkscreen in 1985. The 1-hour film Hot Summer Winds, which Omori both wrote and directed, was based on 2 short stories by Issei Yamamoto. And it was the first time any of Yamamoto's work had been adapted for the screen. It aired on American Playhouse in 1991. In the early 1990s, Omori began a 7-year project on the effects of World War II internment of the Japanese American community. The resulting feature film was Rather Than Moon, which she wrote, directed, filmed, and narrated. It It was co-produced with her elder sister, Shizuko, a Seattle writer who had been involved in the campaign to pass the Civil Liberties Act of 1988, which finally granted reparations to Japanese Americans for their internment. Amori's later work includes the documentaries Chris Marker, An Unsent Letter, and we'll see Passion and Power today. The film was released in 2008 for Passion and Power. It's based on the academic book by Rachel Maines on the history of the vibrator. The Chris Marker, An Unsent Letter was released in 2014, and it's a film essay on the life and work of the enigmatic French filmmaker Chris Marker, who died in 2012. Emiko also worked as one of the cinematographers on Chris Marker's documentary series, The Owl's Legacy, in 1989, for 4 episodes. It's a great series if you can find that, The Owl's Legacy. And she also appears in Alexis Kresolowski's 2007 documentary, Women Behind the Camera. Other films of note: 1975, Were You There When Animals Talk? It's a documentary on African American folklore, directed by Robert Zagone. The Black West, a cinematographer also. It's a documentary on African Americans' role in the colonization of the American West. Bones, as cinematographer in 1979, it's a documentary on musicians John Henry Bones Nobles and Taj Mahal. 1980, Emiko was a camerawoman on The Life and Times of Rosie the Riveter. And skip to 2020, there's a 28-minute documentary called Vanishing Chinatown, The World of May's Photo Studio, which focuses on the family portraits made during the Chinese Exclusion Act. And the film explores granddaughter Corinne Chan Takayama's memories and photos, including the Cantonese opera and other stories of family. Emiko was the director and editor of that film. Other collaborations as camerawoman: The Times of Hard Milk, 1984. Dim Sum, A Little Bit of Heart, 1985. Corpus, a home movie about Selena, 1999. And I'll also note 2015 Chinese Couplets as cinematographer, which is a documentary about 4 generations of Chinese American women. The co-director for today's film is Wendy Slick, and I'll mention some information about Wendy's biography. Her passion for observation and imagination. On the schoolyard, she would direct friends to act out the stories she told. As a documentary filmmaker, her gift continued to be that of a storyteller, and her work explores the humor, drama, and surprise as any work of fiction. Some notable projects that Wendy was involved with: ODC Dance Company, a series of impressionistic dance commercials for Yerba Buena Arts Center. Virtuoso, the Olga Samaroff story, which is a documentary about the almost forgotten pianist of the early 1900s. The story of a strong, talented woman who was overshadowed by her famous husband, Leopold Stokowski. Also, Wendy was involved with several films that were directed towards children and young adults, such as Tiger Tales, Easy as Play, 6 short dramatic films for kids, which won a National Education Silver Apple Award, and also furthermore, Hot Summer Winds. She was a producer for American Playhouse PBS, Right for Change, covers the convergence of food and politics in California. The Mind's Eye and A Time for Grandparents was made for the Disney Channel. Wendy served as director and editor And this was a documentary special about how the brain processes information in different people and the joys of intergenerational relationships. What Dreams May Come was a behind-the-scenes documentary that Wendy produced and directed about the Robin Williams Cuba Gooding Jr. film, What Dreams May Come, for Showtime and the ET channel. And last but not least, National Geographic, What It Means to Be Green, was an educational documentary about plants. I think I'll stop there. So stick around after the film. Emiko will be here to discuss the film with us. We're really happy and fortunate to have her here today. Do you want to mention anything before we start?
Thank you for those of you who made it here. And I think the title, either Josh and Ann or Rich, you have, we made this now over 25 years ago, over 20 years ago. And I said, I haven't seen it in a very long time. So I'm ready seeing it fresh with you all. And when you make documentaries, it doesn't mean that we become experts in whatever we create a documentary on. In other words, when you watch the movie, if you have questions, it has anything to do with what's happening in the sex world or vibrator or whatever today. I don't really know it. But I can tell you, technically or trying to do something. So, those kinds of questions I think happy to answer. I probably came up with some ideas or whatever. So that's just a caveat to say, don't start asking me too much about all of your questions about what's happening in the sex world. Okay. Well, I'm going to hopefully enjoy it with you.
Thanks a lot, everybody.